Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael? Dad?
The Fitness Business Mentorship is on sale for a limited time.
Oh.
We do 1 to 2 sales per year for the mentorship. This is one of them. There won't be another one for a very long time. So if you're interested in joining or have been contemplating joining for a while and want to save $500, now is the time to do it. Don't wait.
Bro, I was just thinking right before we hopped on, I was like, dude, how blessed are we that we get to do what we love for work? Like, we get to do the
Incredible.
mentorship. We get to hang out and shoot the shit on calls like this.
Yep.
You get to coach clients one-on-one. I do the inner circle. Like, the fact that this is just like what we do for work and we're not dealing with motherfuckers in an office, HR department, like 9 to 5.
Bureaucracy,
like, bro,
yes.
red tape.
It's what I remind myself anytime I feel like 1% of burnout or like boredom or anything. I distinctly remember 2021 or 2022 being on a mentorship Q&A where someone was talking about, I have like all these programs to design every week and I'm like getting annoyed with program design. I'm like, you need to, and guess what? If you've been a personal trainer for 20 years, yeah, you might get a little bit bored of designing training programs when you've designed tens of thousands of them. Guess what? You could be in an office making less money for more time with shortened hip flexors all day long, in tight, uncomfortable clothes, getting told what to do by someone you don't respect, and that could be your life.
Making copies on a broken copy machine that the company isn't willing to upgrade because it costs too much, on shitty chairs that's hurting your fucking back, dealing with fucking Greg behind you who smells like shit and just is like always talking to you nonstop. Bro, like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No hate to Gregs. If there's a Greg listening, I don't know why that name came. I don't even know a Greg.
I know some Gregs. I grew up with a Greg.
That's. I was just thinking that, and then I didn't even know you were gonna pitch the mentorship. But it's like that's one reason we do what we do. It's because we want to help people get to a point where not only they can work the job that they want to work and build the business they want to build, but also help their clients and have a ripple effect across the world that like you're gonna be able to see within yourself, within your family, within your clients. That people use the phrase help society, improve society, and they sort of just say it without thinking, what does that mean? Like, what does improving society mean? Practically, what does that actually boil down to? And it boils down to the individual, number one, because we are all individuals of a society, and changing the society starts with each individual. And if you want to have a better impact on society, doing something like this, that you enjoy and are glad to do, makes you a more productive, happy, enjoyable, productive member of society that leads to better outcomes for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the sale will not be going on very long.
We might just end it. We just launch it, we'll end it. Maybe it's over already.
yeah. Fitnessbusinessmentorship.com.
Close.
Apply. No. Apply now. Apply before Jordan makes us close this sale. But seriously, it's I agree with you. I'm very grateful we get to do something that we really enjoy. Having worked a corporate job for a couple years out of college and then getting to move into the fitness space officially and formally and work with clients in person, work with clients online and build that business, like night and day impact on my life. And I hate to like do this and like throw shade at others, but I'm going to, because why not?
Fuck it.
We actually both still do what we are teaching.
Yeah.
Like, I have a full roster of one-on-one online coaching clients. Jordan is making content out there every single day. He is doing more of a group coaching style with a membership rather than
coaching
one-on-one.
every week in there. It's like every week.
Exactly. And
writing programs every month.
We see so many, and you see this in every industry, but you see it in fitness especially, whether it's the pipeline of online fitness coach burnout after a year, I feel like I can make more money selling the how to become a coach, or the try to become an online fitness coach or try to do personal training don't succeed at it, realize, oh, I can just apply my marketing skills to target a niche of personal trainers to help them do this thing that I didn't even really do myself. I like being hands-on because I think, and by the way, this bleeds so well into what you just brought up about you getting back into jiu-jitsu and how it's gonna help you with your daughters and going forward. We can get into that. But when you are actively practicing what you preach, you are a better teacher.
Mm-hmm. You and I have both seen it with numerous, not naming people, but numerous people in the industry who quite literally could not make it as a coach online, and through their inability to make it as an online coach shifted to, oh, let me teach other coaches how to build an online coaching business. It's wild. It's really incredible.
It's a wild pipeline.
Yeah.
So fitnessbusinessmentorship.com.
On sale.
Apply whenever you're ready. Jordan, how did your first BJJ session in a while this morning go for you?
Dude, it was like almost 10 months. I think it was like 10 months, first BJJ session back. It was one of those things where I knew when I was ready, I would know it. I would feel it. I initially stopped about 10 months ago. I tweaked my back, and I was doing a lot. Like I was doing a lot of mobility work, strength training work, cardio, and jiu-jitsu.
Wait, and striking. Was that last summer?
Oh, yeah, and it was striking. Yeah, it was last summer. Striking last summer. Yep. So I hurt my back before my second daughter was born. And not only was my back just in a bad spot, but also then after my second daughter was born, I tweaked my back again after sleeping like shit in the hospital for a couple of nights. I came back just like, it wasn't feeling good. And I was just like, man, it's just so crazy and hectic and busy in the house. And I'm really enjoying the mobility stuff. I'm just going to take some time off. Blink and 10 months goes by, and like back has been feeling amazing for a long time now. Let's go. Literally 2 days ago, I just texted my coach Isaiah. I just said, hey, it's time. And he was like, let's go. And so he came over, and it was great, man. It was really good. It was very cool to see how much the mobility has transferred over to the jiu-jitsu. Like back feels great, hips feel great, knees feel great. Obviously a little rusty, just taking 10 months away from a highly skill-driven sport. And not only have I taken 10 months off, but he's been 10 months on. So it's like the differential has grown substantially just because it's not like he just stayed where he was. He's continued to improve, and I detrained. But it was great. It was really good. And like I was telling you before the podcast, at this point, I'm not doing it to compete. I don't really have any goals or aspirations of competing in jiu-jitsu, but it's as my oldest especially gets older, and we're having real conversations, and she's moving, and she wants to be in the gym and work out with me, and we start doing jiu-jitsu. Me getting lessons will help me better coach her, especially when she's younger and before she begins classes, just because it gives me more context and more ideas. And as I'm learning, okay, here's where I can start with her. So, and there was also, there was a crazy viral video of this like 13-year-old girl who fought off an attacker with jiu-jitsu the other day, which was really awesome to see. But yeah, it's good to be back. And, yeah, that's it, man. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah. And we've experienced that same phenomenon in lifting and strength training, mobility work, whatever it is, when you're more focused on your own goal, even like nutrition, body comp, if you are doing a 30-day mini cut, you have more content ideas, you have like a level of relatability to your clients that is beyond just your knowledge base when you're actually going through it in real time. There's no substitute for walking the walk and the benefits that brings to your ability to help others do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What else we got?
I heard you had a great workout this morning. You had a sick pump.
Okay, we can talk a little bit about my workout. It was either last week, it might have been 2 weeks ago. I talked about the dad split, 2 days a week, way less volume, higher intensity, more sets to failure, channeling 2014 energy, which I'm still doing. However, I made the modification of spreading the volume over 3 days rather than 2 days. The 2 days a week was One, I kind of missed being in the gym. And now that we got our schedule set here on the home front with the little one, I have the flexibility to do that. And two, doing all of your strength training on 2 days makes those 2 days, regardless of like a low, quote unquote, lower volume, they're still pretty high volume for 2 days. And one of those workouts that I had designed for myself was a little ambitious. So spreading that volume out over, keeping the exact same exercises, sets, reps, etc., but just spreading them over a 3-day window rather than 2 days is what I'm doing now. It's feeling great. I did have a sick pump this morning. It was driven by Special K bars and oatmeal coconut cookies that I had before bed last night, unfortunately, but I'm back. I'm tracking. I'm actually in a slight deficit over the last few weeks. And yeah, man, feeling good.
You bring up an interesting point about often people might think, hey, I'm going to do 2 times a week because I want to either spend less time in the gym or whatever it is. But a 2-day a week, bringing the same volume and the same intensity, like that's a devastating 2 days. Whereas if you spread it over 3 days, I think probably net time you're in the gym more, but I think there's an argument to say that it's more efficient. And you can bring a higher level of intensity over those 3 days net than you would with those 2 days. Because by the end of those 2 days, the last couple exercises, you're drained. Like that sand timer, you when you walk in the gym, you turn the sand timer over. Like by the time you get to those last 2 or 3 exercises, your sand is out. But in the 3 days, you've still got some time left. You still got some energy left, and I think that makes total sense. And on your lack of sleep with the new one, taking that level of intensity on 2 days, I would imagine is really fucking hard.
Yeah. Although I do think that can be overcome with caffeine and adrenaline. Like I am now the biggest believer in, I don't care that I got 5 total hours of sleep added up last night. I have a workout scheduled today. I'm going to give it everything I got.
Dude, 100. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I almost said this earlier today when we were talking, and I didn't say it. I feel like I usually get between, on the low end is 4 hours. On the higher end is like 5.5, 6 hours.
On the high end is 5.5?
Usually. Yeah. I was looking at my watch data. Once in a blue moon, I'll get 7 to 8 hours once in a blue moon.
Okay. But like watch data. So we're not talking time in bed, but actual sleep.
Actual sleep.
Good. Okay.
That's actual sleep. And like, bro, it just is what it is. You just got to fucking do it.
Man, I didn't realize you were on that level of...
Dude, grinding.
Always grinding,
bro.
ABG. Yeah, it's a mentality.
Yeah.
It's a mentality.
And it's not like to clarify, I'm not bragging about it, and sleep is obviously really important, and this isn't optimal for health. But when you've got young kids and businesses, and like something's got to be sacrificed. Something. And you get to choose. Is it going to be your own personal health, which I've done before? Is it going to be going out and having dinners with other people and socializing? Like, you're going to have to sacrifice something. So you get to decide what you're going to sacrifice.
There's something to be said, and this probably isn't the most interesting part of all that to zero in on, but the diminishing marginal utility of every set within a specific workout is interesting and varies based on your caloric allotment. Like I find and have found with clients, and I'm sure there's research to back this, that if you are in a 300 to 400 calorie per day surplus, that you can have longer workouts and maintain a higher level of performance than if you're in a deficit. There's a real, like, that sand timer has less sand in it when you are eating below your maintenance.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's important to get the most out of workouts and not waste, not trying to get junk volume in when you're already completely spent.
And I remember I just had a flashback. I haven't thought about this in years. But when I was like my absolute leanest, I hired Martin Birkin, and I just got my absolute leanest, shredded to bits. literal 100% consistency. This was like I was weighing everything. I was weighing fucking onions and spinach, like just like the ultimate. I'm gonna do this 100%. I'm gonna track everything. I was weighing tomatoes, just like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna learn it, man. But when I got to my leanest, I was like 118 pounds or something, just shredded, and simply walking to the gym, my legs felt so heavy. And then I would have like a heavy squat session, and then the workouts were it was like squat, leg press, leg curl, out.
Yeah.
And it was like very
were you taking pre-workout or Turkish coffee? What were you doing for
Turkish
those?
coffee, yeah.
But you were using your caffeine as a pre-workout.
Yeah, I was having a lot of caffeine. I wasn't using I wasn't buying pre-workout, and I wasn't buying pre-workout drinks, partly because they weren't as common back then in terms of the drinks, but also
You didn't have money.
I didn't have money, dude. Yeah. I was spending $100 a month on groceries. Like Turkish coffee, you get a huge bag for pennies.
I feel like you told me that you spent the majority of the money you had on his coaching at that time.
Yeah, I emptied my bank account, $300 on his coaching. Yeah. So, but I vividly remember just walking to one of the university gyms, and I used to go to the main gym, but I was staying after a certain point, probably like 8 weeks doing it in this like really strict deficit. I opted to go for the smaller gym that wasn't as good because it was closer. And I was just like, I'm so tired. I don't want to walk the extra like 10 minutes. Dude, you get exhausted if like you're in a real deficit for a long time. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it was a big one in college too. I would imagine because you had a big campus, dude. Like the steps you get on a college campus.
Massive.
Oh my gosh. Insane. And assuming you're not like one of the rich kids who is driving their car around, like you're actually walking all over campus.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I wish I had a tracker back then, because I bet it was easily 30 to 40,000 a day.
Dude, from the top of Langdon Street to Ag Hall freshman year to get to Nutritional Sciences 101, you had to go up and down Bascom Hill on the way. It was like a 40 to 45 minute walk each direction. You're getting a ton of steps in.
Every day. And then sometimes you'd have a class in the morning, which was like 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. And you have another class in the afternoon, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, and then another class at night. It's like you're walking several hours a day. Never mind you're going around the dorms or your apartments, going out to eat, like going to the grocery store. Like it was a huge amount. I used to walk to the grocery store. And then I would just like, I brought a hiking backpack. I had a hiking backpack when I was in Israel, and like I would take everything and just put them all in the hiking backpack, and everything that didn't fit, then I would carry back from the grocery store.
Smart. Rucking home from the grocery store.
Grocery rucking.
That's such a health benefit of it. It's one of the big upsides of big cities, or like a New York City specifically, where you really don't need to use, you public transit to get around, you're Ubering, you're taking the subways if you have to go past a certain distance. But, for the majority of people, if it's less than a 20-minute walk, and you can do a lot in most neighborhoods, you're walking. And so you're getting this natural built-in step count the same way that you just outlined it with college campuses. It's such a benefit for maintaining body comp, as well as just the, little bit of aerobic benefit that comes from, call it zone 1.5, depending on your walking speed, that you're getting in at a high level every single day, compared to suburb life where you need to really, really make it a priority.
You've been getting on your treadmill at all?
No, it's summer.
You've been going outside. You've been getting your steps in outside. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
No, I haven't really been getting my steps in, but she's 3.5 weeks old, so it'll come. We're getting there, but no, I'm not. I'm probably getting like 6,000 steps a day in, which could be worse.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, and when you're managing nutrition too, it's much easier to see body count progress without taking a massive number of steps. Now, I would still like that number to be at least a few thousand steps higher per day. Both for the psychological benefit, for the physiological benefits, the health benefits, and also the recomp benefits. But right now I'm not quite where I would want to be, but just prioritizing the strength work.
What's your favorite part of being a dad so far?
I think I've already beat this horse.
No, you
enough.
haven't beat it at all. You can't avoid this question. You haven't beat this horse at all yet.
I've already beat this horse. I think I just have repeat answers. It's inexplainable. I can't do her justice with an answer right now in this moment. It would just like we'd reflect back on it and it'd be like, that's not a sufficient answer. I don't have words, and the words that I reach for are
not enough.
Probably not enough, but also just so soft that like I don't even want to say them. I don't even want to say them. But I will, since you're pressing me on this, and then I'm going to press you back, and you're not even going to see it coming with some of these questions that I'm going to ask you, and when you least expect it too, by the way. Good. Broke your leg? Good. Train your forearms.
Good.
I think I already beat this horse, and you just don't remember.
No, I did.
The analogy that I'm using now for myself when I think about it is that I was walking around with a hole in my heart that I didn't know was there, and now it is filled, and everything is just better.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
Yeah.
Yep. Fucking love that, dude.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like, sort of playing off the steps and the health and blah, 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 and the sleep. Obviously, sleep is really important for health, and steps are really important for health and all of that. But I feel like the love that you get and like the filling that hole in your heart is this like secret weapon to health. And if we look at large scale data of people who tend to live the longest, it's not just parents, but also like grandparents who are close to their grandkids. Like they tend to live the longest and have like happiest, most meaningful when the grandparents are near their grandkids and they have a good relationship with them. It's like the ultimate way to safeguard yourself is to just drown yourself in love. And just like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I was talking about that with my parents over the weekend. We were all hanging out, and yeah, completely on the same page. When we are speaking about it publicly, I still go to like, I don't know, the part of me that wants to hold back because infertility is so rampant. Like JP talked about, one of the biggest tragedies he saw in his clinical practice were women who wanted to be mothers but couldn't be mothers, was like one of the hardest things he saw people go through. So I don't think we're coming across as bragging. I have no idea how we're coming across, but that's, yeah, you're completely right though. And the research backs it, which is grandparents who are actively involved in their grandkids' lives. There's also, and this one probably has a solid amount of correlation baked in and isn't just pure causation, but there might be a little bit, which is essentially the older a woman gives birth, the longer she lives.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Like the older a woman is when she has her final child, the longer her lifespan.
I didn't hear about that. That's really cool. I want to look into that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And just for like to the note on infertility or not having kids, like I think about it like this. I talk about my relationship with food and like how I've improved and how, you know, I haven't had a binge in over 10 years, 13. I very much understand that there are people out there who still struggle with binge eating and anorexia and all that. I feel like sharing my story, it's not bragging. It's telling my story. It's telling what I'm going through. And if someone looks at my story and says, well, I can't listen to that because it hurts too much based on where I am, I get it. That's totally fine. Like, so you have to unfollow me or do what's best for your mental health and for your space, but mutually understanding that we're just telling our stories and without saying, it's not like hating on someone or anything other than just saying what's going on in our lives and telling the truth, which I think I love hearing you talk about being a dad. I love hearing that analogy of you were walking around with this hole in your heart that was just filled. Like it's the best. It's really cool to hear it. And I think most people, if not everyone listening, is just happy for you.
Well, thank you. You and everyone. Yeah, it's there are many ways to find significant meaning in life. I logically chose this one while I was struggling to find meaning in any other way. Yeah. And it worked out, like, thank God, literally.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. So, dude, I don't think I talked on the podcast about the fact that, oh no, maybe I did, that I switched gyms to a little bit more like community friendly style gym instead of big commercial
I know you
gym.
told me. I don't know if you'd spoken on the pod, but
gosh, both are, dude. If both our memories are like, my reduced sleep has my memory not in a great space, my short-term memory,
because I solely rely on your memory.
Yeah, we're in trouble. We're gonna become like the old man who just repeats stories. Like, all right, we already heard this one. What's wrong with you guys? What was I even just gonna say? Oh, the gym. Yeah. So, I'll pretend that we haven't talked about this, but I'll go semi quickly, which is I switched gyms because it's closer to my house and it's a more like community oriented, like YMCA style gym versus commercial gym. And the difference in how people treat each other and like the friendliness and the cohesiveness, it feels much more like a community. It's really cool and I'm really enjoying it. And something I noticed going back, because I had a workout this weekend, I was over in a different part of whatever, geographically different area, went to the commercial gym, and I realized one thing that I didn't when I started at the local gym, which is the local gym doesn't have any TVs. There's no TVs anywhere in the local gym, and there are TVs in the commercial gym. And the mood that sets, the like extra stimulation, the having, even if it's sports, but then there's news channels and like, it's just not good.
I hate when there's, when I worked out in commercial gyms and there was a news channel on, I didn't care which one. I don't care if it's Fox. I don't care if it's CNN. I don't care. I don't want to see that shit.
No.
I have no interest in seeing that shit. And it would put me in the worst mood.
Yeah.
Because I have to look at the headlines. Like, I'm trying not to look. And then it's just like the worst shit all the time. Mm-hmm. And both, like, they're lying out of their fucking teeth, saying, I hate when that stuff is in the gym.
Even if it wasn't biased and like, take all of your, whatever your objections to like the current mainstream media are, and let's just say it was reporting facts about what's happening around the world. Most of the facts that they are reporting are sensationalistic in nature, are fear-mongering in nature. Even if they're true, they're meant to get a reaction. They're meant to have people repeatedly tune in. And all of that bad news that you can't have any impact on is not something that we're built for to be consuming in general, let alone when you have one of your few hours during the week when you're really trying to zero in on like having a great workout. Like mindset and headspace when lifting is so important. If you think about the greatest gyms you've ever trained at with the strongest lifters you've ever trained with, like they're not watching TV while they're lifting. They're locked in. And I'm really hoping George's like, actually at Westside, there were TVs everywhere.
No, there weren't. There was no they didn't even have air conditioning. There was no TV at Westside.
Good.
Good. We don't even have gym. We don't have gyms. We don't have mirrors in our home gym, and that's deliberate. I've said for years, and people would say, you'll put mirrors in it. I've said for years, I was like, when we get a home gym, we are not putting mirrors in this home gym for a lot of reasons. But like, I think it's very difficult to say, hey, when you go to the gym, your focus should be on getting better, improving your performance. Oh, and by the way, let's also like have mirrors so we can see how we look. It's like they're competing demands, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to change how you look. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with admiring your changes in your physique. But I almost think about it like as you've quoted the iron many times.
Henry Rollins.
Don't fucking look. Just go in and put in the work. And especially with my daughters, it's like when they're in the gym, dude, I just want them to be like, this is how strong I am. This is how fast I am. Look at my performance. I don't want them being like, oh, well, how do my legs look? How does this look? It's like, and some people are like, well, how do I check my technique? If you're checking your technique while you're doing the lift, you're doing it wrong. We have cameras. Put a fucking camera up, get your view from the side, get your view from the front, and then do the lift with lightish weight and review your technique before you go to the next one. Don't be looking at yourself in the mirror while you're doing lift. It's a bad fucking idea. I don't like TVs in the gym. I don't like mirrors in the gym. You're in the gym. You're focused on what you're doing, period.
Clips Nation, baby. I completely agree on the, wanting to be focused on performance. I especially agree, a la our conversation about plastic surgery last week and steroids, et cetera. Not having the focus be on how you look and that being the main thing you're focused on when you're lifting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I from a technique perspective, I do enjoy seeing myself on certain exercises. Mm-hmm. And I suppose I could just take a video and watch the video afterwards.
You're also more advanced. I'm thinking about the beginner who will watch what they're doing and like they'll set up and they'll crank their neck.
Like turn their head to look.
Yeah, they're doing a barbell squat or like whatever, turning their fucking spine with a load on their back. I'm like, what are you doing? You're more advanced. Maybe you're doing it with curls or lateral raises or something.
Yep, those are the exercises. Maybe like a seated dumbbell high rep overhead press or something like, but.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, especially for beginners and especially for beginners who have who maybe are overly focused on aesthetics and body comp. Henry Rollins, 200 pounds is always 200 pounds.
Go in for what it was like a year and don't look at yourself
2 years. I want you to lift for 2 years and I don't want you to take your shirt off. I don't want you to look at yourself with your shirt off.
Yeah.
And then after 2 years, you can look.
Might be the most underrated advice ever. In all of fitness. Just fucking work hard for years and don't look at yourself. Don't judge or compare yourself. Just fucking lift and get strong. And when you eventually look, it's going to be wild.
If you don't know what we're talking about, by the way, hit pause, pull up YouTube and type in Syatt Vacanti, the Iron, and watch the clip from this podcast where we read that. It's incredible.
It's super good.
And then come back and keep listening to the rest of this episode.
And 5-star review it.
Dude, you sent me a hilarious Instagram video, and I don't have Instagram on my phone, or didn't when you sent it. And I watch whatever you send me, whether it's the saying goodnight to your bros trend or anything.
It's the best trend of all time.
In Safari, and you sent me about wrestling had too big of a grip on us as a kid. WWE had too big of a grip on us. And it was this kid, this like 13-year-old who was going around school saying suck it and doing the like thing with the hands that we all did in middle school. And then it interviewed his parents, and his dad's like, everyone's doing it. It's not just him, But it was a very funny video. And I downloaded Instagram specifically so I could send the video to my really good friend from 5th grade and neighbor, Mike Spillman. And I DM'd him the video and then didn't think anything of it. And later that day, just instinctively finger opened Instagram, because that's what I do when I have it on my phone. And I was laying there on my deck, realizing I opened it. The first thing I see is a picture of Ben Greenfield.
Oh, yeah.
And in the background, he's like at the White House. And in the background is Trump after he got shot, like doing the fight.
A picture of Trump?
Yep.
Yeah.
A picture. Yes. Thank you. A picture of Trump. And Ben's like holding the fist up. And dude, I can't even control it. My eyes gaze down to like to comment ratio, because that's going to tell me like how much drama there is on this post, right? If it's got 20,000 likes and 17 comments, it's like, this is very well received. It had like 10K likes and 1,500 comments. So like I don't know, coded in me, maybe from years of creating too. I just like, this is coded in me. I'm like drama, and I click the comment button and I'm just reading drama. And after reading 5 or 6 comments, and then I saw one like real comment that was feisty, and it had like, I don't know, 300 replies to that comment. I click see more replies. And within 40 seconds, I'm like, wait, what am I doing? It's a beautiful day out. Like, these people are arguing about, I don't even want to repeat it, but these are like deranged people who spend all their time on the internet arguing with strangers. And I was like, it's a beautiful sunny day. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm on my deck. My daughter's taking a nap inside. I got my family around. How did I get here? I was like, oh yeah, I downloaded Instagram to send Spilly that wrestling suck it video. Delete Instagram off my phone. Get me out of here. It's poison.
Dude, it's the worst.
And maybe there's something wrong with me that like, it's like rubbernecking when you drive by an accident on the highway and you have to look. Maybe I could have scrolled past that to the next thing and seen something better. Something just had to see the juice of like, all right, fitness dude posting a Trump thing, like what's going on below there? This is going to be interesting.
Bro, that's not you. That's why there's a reason why that was the post that you saw.
But what is it, because Instagram knew me, or do you think a lot of people are getting shown that post?
A lot of people are being shown that because it's such an incendiary post, which like, okay, so people see that. Then they feel like they have to put their information in. They have to feel like they comment. Instagram recognizes they're spending an insane amount of time on this one post, whether they're commenting on it or reading the comments. So Instagram's like, how do I get more people to spend more time on the app? Let's show them the posts that are getting the most engagement, the most back and forth. So there's a reason why like your behavior mimicked the behavior of basically everybody who saw that post, which is why you saw that post. It's, dude, that makes 100% total sense. And I think you're unlike most people in that you were like, what the fuck am I doing? And then you deleted it and you got off and you enjoyed the rest of the day.
Took many years of wasting many hours to get a little bit of perspective.
Yeah, it's bad. Because it's so easy, like, when you're in that moment to be like, I'm fighting for humanity.
No, you're not.
I need to see what's being said. I need to give my opinion on this post so everybody knows the truth. And then I will have done my job.
Yeah. I am changing the world in these comment sections.
One Instagram comment at a time. And when people see what I have to say, that will change their mind.
You know what? I actually have more respect for it if people are in there battling in the comments than just people consuming the comments for drama. Because they actually, there's way better ways to have a positive impact, but they're at least like doing a little something. I had no interest in commenting on Ben Greenfeld's post.
I haven't seen his stuff in a long time.
The last thing I saw, he was like in the woods, like shooting a bow and arrow. I don't know, but this was, and he was like doing peptides in, I don't know, 2014. Like
oh, really?
Maybe 2019, but he was ahead of the trend on that one for sure.
Oh, wow. Is he part of the Maha movement? Is he in there with like all these?
I think that's what he was. I think that's what he was there for. I don't know. I don't know.
You got to look at again, just objectively, what I'm seeing right now with the Maha movement specifically is what they're doing very effectively. I don't agree with a lot of the bullshit that they say, but what they're doing very effectively is they're using some of the biggest influencers in the health and fitness space and inviting them to the White House, and they're fucking like, they're including them, and they're dude, it's actually from using their ability to get information out to the public.
Yeah, from a political perspective, good for them.
It's an effective strategy to be aware of, that like what they're doing really, really well. And by the way, like if we're looking at what didn't expect to go down this route, but one thing that I think Trump, but also Vance did this really well leading up to the election, is they made use of these very large platforms. I think one of Kamala's biggest mistakes was not going on Rogan. That was like by far one of her biggest mistakes going into the election. And it looks like the Republican Party is very much using the influencers in social media not to, yes, they're putting out information that I disagree with, but they're effectively using social media and people with large audiences in a way that I don't think the Democrats have done in recent years.
Be interesting to see for those who are paying attention. I know back when I was still on the internet post-election, Newsom like started a podcast and was having long form conversations with people on the other side of that. Yeah.
You see, you brought Charlie Kirk on there?
Yeah, that had to be several months ago because I did see that.
Yeah. He brought Charlie Kirk, which you can see Newsom is even now trying to distance himself from like the very far left because he said things that the very far left would like completely tear him apart for. And even just having a conversation with Charlie Kirk would like he's
very polished. He's a very savvy politician.
It's a nice way to put it.
He said things in that episode that are the opposite of the beliefs he held a year prior.
Yes,
so yes, what you
correct.
are saying about intentionally distancing himself from a different fraction of his own political party probably makes sense. I couldn't be happier to be checked out of this world of things that performative politics, but really I would it's a bigger category of things that are going on in the world that are very entertaining, that I am not having a direct impact on, that are not enhancing my life and are leading me to be worse rather than better.
Yeah.
There are people who are involved in politics who are really trying to make a difference. Respect. Amazing. Local, federal, like state, whatever level. But I was just a consumer of the
drama.
Yeah, the drama. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we fire up a little Q&A?
All right. Here's one. Actually from a long time ago, one-on-one client. She said, how are you balancing now that you have a whole family? Which we could discuss. I feel like we sort of talk about it indirectly, but honestly, there is no balance. I think I have more balance now than I did years ago when I was just solely focused on business. But I really am at a point in my life where I don't think balance exists in the way most people think about it. It's not like 20% business, 20% family, 20% sleep, 20% nutrition. It's like I don't think that it's balance in the actual meaning of the word, in that like everything is equal. It is not equality among my like what I do in life. There are a couple of things that I hyper focus on, and everything else either maintains or actually is on a slow decline.
Mm-hmm. Like your jiu-jitsu over the last 10 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. My mobility, sharp incline. Jiu-jitsu, sharp decline.
Moderate. No, because...
because I worked so hard to get to a certain point. Yeah. But like the cool part is when I restart jiu-jitsu, or now that I've restarted it, I'll be able to get back to where I was significantly more quickly than if I hadn't had a period of hyper-focus before that. So that it's sort of like conjugate periodization for your life, where like you... it's like you pick a couple of things that you hyper focus on, and then you maintain everything else ish, and then you do that, and then you switch to something else, and it's conjugated periodization for life.
It's a great analogy. It is. I'm going to answer it slightly differently, and I'm just going to give something that I've been wanting to say for a while, which is, do you ever hear the people talk about how like it's many people over the years have said, I was pretty successful in business, but then I started a family and then I got way, way more successful in business.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely cannot relate to that feeling.
I completely agree, but keep going.
From a practical perspective, when you are single and your hyper focus is on growing a business and everything you do in your life is focused on getting your business off the ground for your survival, for your well-being, like you're motivated from every angle and you have all of your hours to focus on your business, all of your waking hours. And then you start a family and you have a spouse, you have children, you have all of these other obligations that are pulling time away from you, actual time that you can't be working, and also like mental, like there are only so many hours in the day. And so this actually shapes how I think about helping people like in the mentorship or helping personal trainers listening who want to grow their business, which is if you're 23 and single and want to grow your business and you're highly motivated, good. Work 100 hours a week and get that thing off the ground in the next 2 to 3 years. You could be in an incredible place. If someone reaches out who just quit their job, who has a few kids, but now they're a little bit older and they're in school, maybe this person's in their 40s, maybe they have done a little bit of in-person coaching over the years, they want to get their online business off the ground now, we have to taper expectations on the speed that you can grow that business, because the people who have said, just start a family, that will make you way more successful in business, in my experience, the opposite is true. I don't understand how it can be true just from an hours in the day perspective. I understand that, like, look, I have a new lease on life. I have new motivations. I'm not just working for myself. I'm working for other people. Like, I understand that there's a mix of that can be beneficial. But if you were working hard and had all of your time to focus on your business, and then you lost half of that time, let's say, there's no way that you can be better at building your business. Or I'm just really not getting it.
You know who has there are two groups of people that have a real advantage in terms of time. It's either like that young grinder, 22, 23 years old, whatever, no kids, just you can go nuts and work 100 hours a week. Or, as we've both seen, the older-ish, not like old, but older, someone who their kids are like either late high school or out of the house, and their kids are independent, doing their own thing, and their kids are like whatever. That, we've seen that with whether it's Susan, we've seen it with Kim Schlag, we've seen it. We've seen it with a number of people who go hard. Tracy in the mentorship, right? We've seen it with a number of people who are like, they're on the older end, not old, older. And they've just got more time and they fucking grind. But if you've got youngish kids and like you've started a family, you can do it. But it's like like what you and I were talking about before the podcast. A hypothyroid individual they're actually working from a disadvantage if their thyroid is underactive, and then giving them medication brings it back up to a standard level. You have a hypothyroid in that like you've got time that you've got to dedicate elsewhere, and there's no medication that will fix that. It's just like you be with your family, be a present parent, be a good parent, and also do your best for your clients and your business, but also understand you physically cannot be a present parent and a good parent and also working 100 plus hours a week. Like that's just, you can't be present and working 100 hours a week. You can't do that.
Period.
Yeah.
Great question.
Thoughts on nicotine patches?
Oh, this came up. You brought this up to me recently, saying that it's become so much more prevalent and mainstream and people commenting.
Dude, people are asking me about this all the time now.
And
it's the number one thing on my Q&A right now.
Probably at least in the last 3 years, some of the scientific podcast people, Atia Huberman, I remember in like maybe as early as 2021, but definitely 2022, were talking openly about nicotine usage and the benefits and for the first time openly discussing the fact that nicotine as an isolated compound doesn't have the negative health consequences that tobacco has, essentially.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing it from all sorts of people asking you about it.
Constantly asking me about it. I mean, it's funny. I've even gotten nicotine companies reaching out. Hey, can we send you our nicotine? It's like nicotine is now becoming a fitness product.
It's wild.
Which is like, to be honest, it's very cool from the perspective of we've seen so many things progress throughout our careers, and if we think about real people who've had real careers, like I'm talking about the people who worked in the same place for 50 years, 60 years, like the amount of time we've been in this industry is nothing. Like we're newbies, we're babies, but it is cool to have been in the industry for about 20 years now and have seen so much progression and so much like, hey, like something that was completely outlandish to say is now like, oh no, that actually makes sense. Now let's discuss it. So it is cool to see that. And it is cool to see that science is always progressing and we're trying to learn more. It's from the nicotine perspective, I think the vast majority of people hear nicotine think immediately bad. In the same way that for a long time, and even still today, the vast majority of people hear strength training and they think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. They don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? It's like the immediate image that you have is bad, but it is the way that you phrase it, isolating nicotine as a specific compound separate from tobacco. Cool. Now we can look at it. And what it does appear is that it's actually very similar in not in terms of how it works, but similar in characteristics to caffeine. And that caffeine, if you do too much, is number one, obviously bad. Caffeine is addictive. Caffeine, if you stop using it, you get withdrawals. Like there are issues with caffeine, but it's also, if you look at the research in caffeine and athletic performance, the literal only sport that I've seen in the research that caffeine is not good for is a sport that has anything to do with shooting long distances, like sniper shooting, biathlons, because when you're sniper shooting, you shoot in between heartbeats. And so if your heartbeat is going faster from the caffeine, then it's more difficult because literally your heartbeat can impact the where the bullet is going to go. That little bit can make a big difference at long distances. So that's the only sport in the research I've seen that caffeine is not good for. Everything else, caffeine massively improves your performance athletically in terms of your conditioning, in terms of power output, then also the cognitive improvements from caffeine, right? Your ability to think better, all this stuff, mood enhancement, blah, 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 blah. It appears that nicotine is very similar in terms of the potential for cognitive enhancement, the potential for performance enhancement. There seems to be potential for neuroprotective benefits, protecting against degenerative diseases. These are all like relatively preliminary, but like it is very cool to see something that has been demonized because of what it's associated with is now being like, oh shit, there might actually be some benefits to this that we were unaware of before.
I am highly skeptical.
Okay, that's good.
I haven't gone deep on the research. I guess I haven't thought about it enough for other people, only for myself. And I know my personality, and the one major downside that even people who are the most pro nicotine admit is that it's highly addictive.
Yeah. Super addictive, like crazy addictive.
I don't know how to compare the addictiveness between caffeine and nicotine. Like I
think it's massively. I think nicotine is way more addictive.
Like I've gone 30 days no caffeine before, and been relatively fine. Whereas I see people who, even when they quit cigarettes, like can't get off nicotine pouches, can't get off nicotine gum. Like it's extremely addictive. So as someone who doesn't have a nicotine habit, I'm not looking to pick up another thing, even if it's a little bit neuroprotective, even if it might be a little bit cognitive enhancing. You getting anything good on comparing caffeine and nicotine addictiveness?
I Google searched and the AI came up right away, and I said, what is the difference between caffeine and nicotine in terms of addictiveness? And the AI overview is nicotine is generally considered more addictive than caffeine, though both can cause dependence. Nicotine is a highly addictive substance found in tobacco, and it significantly alters brain function, making it difficult to quit. Caffeine, while it also leads to dependence, has a lower potential for addiction compared to caffeine. So, yeah, I mean, it appears that nicotine is substantially more addictive, which would make total sense. I mean, people willingly go out of their way and spend a fuck ton of money to light tobacco on fire and inhale it into their lungs, along with how many other hundreds or thousands of chemicals,
because of the nicotine.
Because of the nicotine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I drink a half a cup of coffee per day. I drink between 100 and 200 milligrams of caffeine per day. And I know many people who have a tin of Zyn or Rogue or whatever the Amazon knockoff every day. They have a tin every day. And by the way, I know people who drink 8 to 10 cups of coffee a day too. So maybe, but
and
I
have
also
like 4 monsters and da 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 da. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know anyone who has 4 monsters a day for like, I think 4 monsters a day for like multiple years is a death sentence, actually.
Yeah, I completely agree because of the caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the amount of caffeine. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And we'll see how it plays out over the years and decades. I think people who can use it in moderation and are currently using it in moderation and are benefiting from it, more power to you. Like, phenomenal. And I have no moral judgment against it. I think awesome.
You know what I would be really interested to see? What's more addictive? Nicotine or behaviors around highly palatable foods? Right? Like I would be very interested to see.
I think those are closer together
than caffeine.
I
think you're right. I completely agree.
I think maybe nicotine is more addictive. I think it depends on the person.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
If we take large scale population data, I would say that nicotine, just guessing like gut feel, is more addictive than highly palatable foods. Mm-hmm. But I think it's close. And I think caffeine is like decently far away from both of those two.
Now, that's purely addictiveness. What about detrimental effects when overconsumed?
Highly palatable foods.
It's not even close.
Hands down. Yep.
If we isolate nicotine away from tobacco, so it's just pure nicotine, highly palatable foods, and caffeine.
100%.
Highly palatable foods is the most dangerous.
Unfortunately, Jordan, I've been on highly palatable foods since I was just a young buck. We're talking 30 plus years, and I don't have that nicotine exposure yet. Like, I'm a big proponent of, if you aren't with anything, if you haven't tried it yet, and there's potential for negative outcomes and there's potential for addictiveness depending on your personality and your makeup. I guess just for myself, I'm a big proponent of, if you haven't picked up that vice yet, don't try it. Don't like test it and be like, hey, can I use this thing in moderation that some people can and some people it like ruins their lives a little bit? Like, should I just test it to see if I can? Should I do heroin once? Like, maybe I'm the exception.
I just want to try it.
Yeah. But you raise a very interesting comparison there, because the negative health consequences of overconsumption of highly palatable foods have to be worse from longevity and health span.
Yeah.
Right? So like functionality, like how good, even if you're alive, how good are you from 70 to 90? How much can you do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, highly palatable foods have to be worse.
I mean, we look at it because we're looking at, essentially, we know which ones are nicotine is almost undoubtedly the most addictive. But then again, I mean, dude, anyone who's interacted with someone who considers themselves to be addicted to certain foods, man, like some of the amounts that they eat and like the levels, like from the wake up till bedtime, it's all they fucking think about. It's all like they can't eat other foods because it doesn't taste as good as that one. Like the addictive behaviors around highly palatable foods are debilitating. So either way, but then when we look at, let's say someone is like overdoing it on these three, the overdoing it on nicotine and overdoing it on caffeine. I think caffeine might actually be more dangerous than nicotine in terms of the effect on the heart. I don't know nicotine's effect on the heart yet, but
I feel like with nicotine, there's like you get used to it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that same phenomenon exists with caffeine.
I think up to a point. I think up to about 400 milligrams a day is where it's deemed to be out safe. But after that, that's when it can really negatively affect blood pressure. But also, nicotine can negatively affect blood pressure. I think it's a vasoconstrictor. It can have negative side effects as well. So it would have a negative impact on the heart. But I would actually, my point is, overall, someone who's addicted to, or the behaviors are addictive around highly palatable foods, over consuming. When you have highly palatable foods, you end up feeling like shit, far less likely to exercise, gaining excess body fat. You're like the downstream effects, whereas generally nicotine and caffeine, I feel better.
Appetite suppressant. You got
down,
energy.
I'm
You're
moving,
taking
good
steps.
News, productive. Like, let's go socialize. Like, all bad. You don't want to overconsume any of them. But I would bet of those three, highly palatable foods is the most dangerous to overconsume.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I agree. That being said, if you haven't started nicotine, just because it might not be as bad as highly palatable foods and outcomes, isn't like oh good, why don't I pick up this habit and get on what do Zins cost these days?
I have no idea.
Between $4.30 and $10.19 in the US, location dependent. So we'll call it $7 to $8 a tin. People consuming a tin a day, which is on the high end, obviously, of users, 15 pouches a day, is what did I just say? That's like 50 plus a week, $200 a month. That's a real expense.
It's a real expense. Yeah. All right, we're live.
Fascinating.
Sales live.
Sales
Apply.
live. Sign up.
Apply.
Join us.
We'll see. We'll see.
That's
we'll
true.
We'll see if we're a good fit.
Well, and if you didn't listen to the last episode, listen to the last 5 minutes where we talk about, people who are trying to make 600K in 6 hours. Like,
we're looking for
trying to
two men
get
between the ages of 28 and 29 making six figures.
Exactly. And just the thing that I love about almost everyone, if not everyone in the mentorship right now, is the hyper focus on wanting to help their current clients on getting better, getting healthier, getting the positive outcomes, not on how can I have as many followers as possible so that I can be famous and feel good about myself, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Amazing. Link to apply is in the show notes. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye.